All right, we got to let it breathe. Something I have not been doing so well over the last week as we get in the Facebook groups. Gonna wait for a couple green check marks here before we get going. There's one. There's one. There's two. Welcome into another episode of Death Valley Deep Drivers. I am your host, Erick Trickel, and joining me tonight is Lance Sanderson. Lance, my man, how are you doing? Are you excited for this weekend with it being the meet and greet? Are you
No,
excited that in just right around 23 hours from now, you and I will be back together, turning up the city of Denver?
absolutely not. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to see you. I don't want to pick you up from the airport. I don't want to be in Denver. I don't want to go to Shanahan's. I don't want to do any of that stuff. No, yes, I'm absolutely freaking stoked for what's about to happen this weekend. The Mile High Huddle meet and greet is one of the best times of the year, guys, not only in my life, but just for everybody involved. Like, seriously, I cannot wait to see each and every one of you. I've been talking to Roy Osborne behind the scenes for a while now. Shout out to Roy. Him and his wife are going to go see the aquarium. They're going to go to the zoo. Like, they're going to have a great time. Everyone that shows up there cannot wait to meet and shake hands, give a big hug, talk Broncos football, just get to know each other for a little bit. I'm super, super, super stoked about this weekend. It's gonna be a long day for me tomorrow with the travel and everything. Obviously, got to pick you up from the airport, but no, dude, like I've been waiting on this week for about a month and a half now, and I'm ready for it. I cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Yeah, as you said, meet and greets this weekend, but it's not only that. There is a lot of emotion going into this game as
Mhm.
Demarius Thomas is inducted into the Ring of Fame, and they honor the Super Bowl 50 team. And there is like almost 100 alumni that are going to
Yep.
be at this game. It's the biggest alumni event that they Broncos history. So there's a lot of emotion in this one. There's going to be a lot of hype. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the Broncos to do well. And then, of course, is the meet and greet. That's always a fun time, as you said, for it. I'm going to be, my travels in less than 12 hours from now. So I'm going to be an early night for me. I got to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning
Same.
and get going. And so we're, we're going to try to get out of here a little bit early just because of travel and everything like that. But we want to make sure we cover, a lot of stuff for this game. Roy Osborne said, heck yeah, I've been waiting for this since July. A lot of us have. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh
as
yeah.
soon as the schedule came out, the conversation started about what week we're going to do. I know there are some discussions about the Monday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals just because of timing at the end of September. That seems to be the best time. But Monday night, it's harder with travel and work weeks and everything like that. So we settled on this one a little bit later. Weather can be a little bit more questionable. I know it's very questionable for me. I might be having to deal with some rough winds flying out on a very small plane. It's like a 6-seater plane
Oh boy.
and flying back on it. And last year, flying back in rough winds, my plane engine stalled and we plummeted about 500 feet. So not looking forward to that. Um, Fortunately, they were able to get the engine back on and we're all fine, obviously. But yeah, a little bit freaked about that with some winds going on. But super excited for the meet and greet. Super excited for this game and with the matchups here, and so excited to get into that. But before we do, got to say hello to some people here in the chat. We have Papa Bear coming in with a $2 super chat saying, "Good evening, Broncos country." 13 and hashtag 13-4. Glad to see you back up to 13-4. I've been right there. I've been there with you since the season. Um, I know that there for a while you kind of dropped it, but I'm glad that you're moved it back up and at that 13-4 and are seeing the potential with this team still. Still a long ways to go. Still some really rough moments, especially with the offense. But if the defense can play like they have been, it can be really tough. Mike Ronquillo also coming in, one of our YouTube members, along with Papa Bear, also a member over on YouTube, saying the meet and greets on October 19th, 2025. This Sunday, it's from 11 to 2,
Yes.
right?
It's yeah.
In
So
Lot D.
lot D on the west side of the stadium, guys, where the stairs and the big walkway comes down to the 200 level of the stadium. We usually try to be there as early as possible, like literally when the lots open up at 11 o'clock. We get everything set up and we try to be as close to the stairs as possible. We've been there every single year, and it's again, guys, it's always just a badass time, man. It really is.
Make sure you look for the blue Mile High Huddle tent. That's the
Yes.
easiest way to find us. Michael also coming in talking about the Super Bowl 50 championship team and Demarius Thomas being inducted to the Ring of Fame and the honors that are there. Todd Ossendorf saying hello, Broncos country, another one of our YouTube members. And Stingray saying, good evening, all. I hear the Giants plan to use a lot of 12 personnel formations. What should the defense run to counter that formation? Is that formation going to negate our pass rush? No. And honestly, the Broncos shouldn't do a whole lot of anything different. It just, all that means it's going to be more of their base 3-4 look. Probably a little bit less nickel. Might see some dime usage in that. But for the most part, I think it's going to be pretty standard defensive front for it and making the Giants go beat you. And it's not like the Giants tight ends, the depth there isn't great. Theo Johnson's been playing well, but Daniel Bellinger's been a bit rough, as has Chris Manhertz, who's their third tight end. He's been really rough this season. So really nothing that I would change for Vance Joseph on this defense. I would be, only thing is, and it's not necessarily a personnel response to it for them being 12 personnel. I would be aggressive, but I would be aggressive with less blitzing. And we'll get into that here in just a minute. Stingray also, or String Guy also coming in saying, I heard Peyton say Greenlaw was going to play, hoping Roach, Allen, and Greenlaw will be effective against the two tight end set. It's looking like Greenlaw will be activated for this game. The Denver Broncos did cut Sam Ehlinger today. That opened up a spot on their 53-man roster, and they already activated or designated Greenlaw to return, opened his practice window. And tomorrow, I believe the expectation is Greenlaw will be activated off injured reserve, and he will be playing partly or part-time in this game. And Ehlinger being brought back on the practice squad with a corresponding move yet to be made for that. But it does look like Denver will be getting Greenlaw back for this game in a part-time rotation type of this. Max coming in saying, evening Broncos country. We got HH4 saying, Bo overthrow will wet the bed again. Yeah, we'll see a little bit until the game, but you know what? The issues with the offense aren't all on him, especially against the Jets. I think that he was one of the nicer parts or the better parts of the Broncos offense against the Jets, and a lot around him was let down. Ralph saying, I would never wish for a player to get hurt, but if Dart goes down and Russ comes in, can we all count down the play clock 5 seconds fast? Of course.
I love this.
Of course. So good. That would be the ultimate troll of Russell Wilson. And we had the same conversation last year before Russell Wilson managed to duck Denver with the Steelers. And he, he played so poorly intentionally just so he didn't have to start for the Giants against the Broncos. That's my conspiracy theory.
I mean, it makes sense. He's been bad. Obviously, guys, we know what happened with Russell Wilson here in the last couple of seasons. He's not nearly the player that he was in Seattle, and everybody knows that. But he was also playing so bad for the Giants. They had to do something. And fortunately for the Giants, I got kind of a bold take here. I think, not really bold. I think Jackson Dart might actually be a dude for them. Like, quite honestly, he's got some swag to him. He's got some playmaking ability. We'll break it down here in a minute. Let's continue to say hi to everybody. But Jackson Dart is actually he's a fun football player to watch.
Yeah, I won't give my take on Jackson Dart, just because I know it'll rile up some Broncos fans. But we have Chase Wallner saying this one is for DT 100%. That's Cortland Sutton's is a man on a mission in this one. You know that for a fact.
Right above my head, this placard right above my head is it's a special Demaryius Thomas plaque. Everybody knows he's the first player that I ever scouted and really tried to formulate into being a draft scout. And what I do now, this game means a lot to me specifically, and I'm so happy that the Broncos are doing this for DT, even though posthumously, may he rest in peace. There's not gonna be a dry eye in the house at Mile High Stadium on Sunday afternoon at halftime.
Except for mine. I don't cry.
I don't believe you. Not for a second.
I haven't cried in a long time. My family actually makes fun of me because on Christmas a few years back when my grandmother died, I didn't cry. But anyways, not that that's healthy. It's actually not healthy to not cry. But anyways, beside the point, Max coming in with $5 from California.
Hey, that's a throwback that's a big time throwback
from out of Canada. Lance, for the longest time, whenever he saw the CA, he'd always say California. What's the cornerback wide receiver matchup for this game? Thanks for all you do. Let's get that win for DT and the Super Bowl 50 team. Go Broncos. The Giants don't typically play match. They typically play sides. So Denver should have a little bit better advantage of dictating their matchups. I would be doing what I can to get Cortland Sutton on Paulson Adebo And when he's out there on the field, if he is, Deonte Banks isn't on the injury report, so he might actually play. But if Cordell Flott is ever out on the field, I would do whatever I can to get Pat Bryant matched up against him, not necessarily for the receiving game, but for the running game. And we'll get to that here in just a minute. And then you have Andrew Phillips, who plays in the nickel, who's been a solid corner for them, but has been having some issues for it with them of late. And whoa, our chat just blew up here real quick. And then we have David Youngkin saying the Jekyll and Hyde offense is what scares me. Yeah, Denver's got to figure something out with this offense to be more consistent and less boom or bust. And I think it's safe to say that when talking about this offense, it can kind of be a little bit of an underdog, if I may say so myself, especially with the matchup against the Giants.
Yeah, guys, speaking about underdogs here, football season is in full swing. We got to give a shout out to our supporting sponsor tonight, Underdog. And guys, Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action and win money. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and many more. I've actually gotten in on the Underdog, and it's a lot of fun to play.
That's right. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. So if you think you've got a beat on what Bo Nix's stats are going to be this week, or RJ Harvey, or J.K. Dobbins, or Cortland Sutton's, download Underdog and win some money.
Yeah, guys, I've missed on a couple different parlays, hit on one a couple weeks ago, but I have a lot of fun playing on Underdog and winning money while you're watching football. Guys, that's a touchdown. Download the app today and sign up with promo code MHuddle to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5 like I did. Again, guys, that's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. You guys can be next. Underdog, make picks and win money.
Be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Now, getting into why I would do what I can for getting Pat Bryant matched up against Cordell Flott. When watching the Giants, Cordell Flott stood out for a very bad reason. This dude's play when working downhill, so against quicker throws, screens, outside runs, the run specifically in any case, he makes Darrelle Revis look like an outstanding run defender. And Darrelle Revis was an issue against the run. His effort wasn't always there. Flott is just so bad against the run. And Pat Bryant has emerged as that blocking receiver. He's been getting increased of snaps every single week since week 3 and has really taken that spot over as Trent Sherfield's snaps have kind of declined. And so they're really rotating that position with, Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims being more of that explosive playmaker types. So if ever Cordell Flott's is on the field, I'm doing what I can to get Pat Bryant matched up and gets it. And I'm targeting him either with a screen or an outside run, trying to get something going, because not just Flott, but the Giants defense in general has been really bad with those quick plays to the outside, either, crack tosses or sweeps or screens to the outside. The angles from the safeties have been rough. The linebackers don't have that sideline to sideline quickness that you really got to see for it. So I would really look at exploiting that aspect of it. And I think that's one of the biggest matchups for the Broncos offense against the Giants defense in general, because the Giants' teeth of their defense is their pass rush, and it comes strictly off the edge. And we'll get into that here in just a second. And what's one way you take the teeth out of a pass rush? Getting the ball out quickly, making plays to the outside, and letting your playmakers go and make plays.
Or you let that pass rush get upfield and you throw the screens underneath them and you exploit 3 particular players here. You talked about Cordell Flott, who is a small cornerback. He's a small, thin, frail-looking player out there. Yeah, he's athletic and he does have some really good ball skills, so you don't want to necessarily target him down the field. But get the ball out quick and allow him to be one of the exploitation points within the offense moving forward. Again, like you said, Pat Bryant, Cortland Sutton, getting him isolated one-on-one where they can be quality blockers up front. But then Tyler Nubin from the second level, their safety, has been awful in terms of tackling. He's had terrible angles in the run game. He's so consistently out of position that if you can get a player like a Marvin Mims or an RJ Harvey, the ball in space, a guy that can go out and go force missed tackles, Tyler Nubin is another player to target here. And then the third guy, if you have all three of these players on the same side of the formation, it's Cordell Flott, it's Tyler Nubin, and their linebacker Darius Muasau, who has been absolutely atrocious in coverage, especially against tight ends. There's a way for this Broncos offense, specifically what they do in their screen game, because they do such a great job designing up and getting these offensive linemen out in front, getting these players in some space, and then it's usually safeties and linebackers making plays back behind that to stop these plays. The Broncos right now, with the way that they're executing up front in their screen game and the way that the Giants defense is not doing a great job in forms of just being great angular tacklers to the football, angular pursuit players to the football, you can really create some explosive plays in the screen game this week.
Yeah, and getting to that pass rush, as we talked about, that's where their teeth is. Mm-hmm. Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Abdul Carter, who is dealing with a hamstring injury, which might hinder him a little bit. That is where their pass rush comes from. And I actually upset a lot of Giants fans because there's been a lot of weird trash talk from Giants fans, which is pretty untypical, atypical from them. Normally Giants fans are a little bit, not as outspoken on Twitter, at least from what I've seen. Granted, we haven't played them a whole lot, so maybe it's just because I'm not paying attention to that thing, or that fan base, but there's been a lot coming out of them, and they're really hyping up their pass rush against this Broncos offensive line. And I have some data here. And granted, the Broncos are with another new left guard. It does sound like it's going to be Alex Palczewski, with Garrett Bowles saying that. And it's interesting because obviously I talked about earlier this week and I talked about it last week. There's been comments from Sean Payton that suggest that there is a discomfort about playing Alex Palczewski on the left side of the line. He's only played like 6 snaps on the left side of the line going back to 2018, or going back since he entered the NFL, and only 16 total going back to 2018. Just because from what Sean Payton kind of implied and hinted at is that he's uncomfortable doing it. They did sign Calvin Throckmorton to it. And from what I understand, throughout practice this week, and they've been trying to work with Alex Palczewski basically since his rookie year, halfway through his rookie year, to play on the left side, and have had some issues. This week during practice, and going back to last week when they're trying to, and giving Throckmorton some opportunities there to get acclimated in case Matt Parrott went down during the game, Calvin Throckmorton struggled a lot to the point where they're rather going to deal with betting on Alex Palczewski and the talent that he has and the experience that he has in playing on a side he may not be comfortable with, than rolling with Calvin Throckmorton. But anyways, the Giants off deep pass rush, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, they all combined have like 69 pressures. Brian Burns is tied for the NFL lead with Nick Bonito in sacks. And one thing is, through this, the Broncos have allowed the lowest pressure rate this season. They're 5th lowest overall against the blitz, and they are the lowest against no blitzes. Meanwhile, the Giants have the 16th overall pressure rate, 13 when blitzing, and 18th without it. They are not a team that likes to blitz a whole lot. They are one of the lowest blitz rate teams in the NFL. And one aspect to this, when you're talking about blitzing and not, well, you also have to take into account a secondary that's able to hold up. Denver's is able to hold up. We've seen that. It's what enables them to blitz so often.
Yep.
Giants have a little bit more of an issue there. That quicker passing game is one of the biggest exploitable areas of this defense, again, because it takes the teeth out of their pass rush, but their secondary doesn't hold up long enough. So as long as the Broncos aren't forced to hold the ball for a long time, they should be able to have success against this defense. Of course, they have to go out there and execute, and it's on them to go out there and execute to keep themselves from being put into 3rd and long situations where it's obvious pass rush, where you have to hold the ball a little bit longer, cutting down the penalties, stop shooting yourselves in the foot. It's a lot to ask for this Broncos offense from what we've seen, but if they want to have success against this Giants defense, quicker passing game, get the ball out, let your playmakers go make plays, and don't let their pass rush take it over. Dexter Lawrence has not been that guy that you've wanted to. I apologize. I'm still dealing with a little bit of a cold and cold medicine and stuff like that and trying to kick it. But Dexter Lawrence hasn't been that weapon for them so far this year, as he's still recovering from a dislocated elbow that he suffered to end last year that landed him on injury reserve to close out the season. So in the interior, there's not much pressure there. They haven't been doing well. They've been doing well against the run, but you just take that pressure out from the edges because it's very predictable where that pressure is going to be coming from.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I'm going to grab this comment really quick from Joe Anthony over on Facebook saying, "Hey guys, was thinking about making something for the meet and greet. Was wondering if I brought in a foil pan. They have sternos and racks to keep it hot. I'm not sure what the setup's going to be for that. Bring it. I'm sure we'll get through it. No worries about that. But can't wait to meet you. Come up and come say hey. Can't wait to meet everybody here at the meet and greet. Super excited about that. So yeah, Joe, if you're wanting to bring something, by all means, bring it. We'll get through it. I guarantee you that it's not going to go to waste. So we'll figure that out on the back end of that. But going back to something that you had just said here, execution, especially in the quick passing game. This Broncos offense right now and what they have been able to do in the quick passing game. Go back to this game against the Jets. The first half, Bo Nix was on fire, especially in the quick passing game. They used a lot of screens. They used a lot of the quick slants. They ran a couple of just quick outs. I mean, the Evan Ingram play on 4th and 3, they picked up 8 yards. That's quick game right there. That's what they do. They had I don't want to call it a tunnel screen because it really wasn't that, but it was a quick slant to Troy Franklin on a 1st and 6 or something like that to move them to that was the holding penalty sequence. It was like a 40-yard penalty. They hit Troy Franklin on a quick slant route in the quick passing game. They used that against the Jets, and it was very, very effective in the first half. They went away from that in the second half, which to me is just inexplicable as to why they didn't continue to just target those cornerbacks in the quick passing game. But to me, Eric, there's been a hot talking point throughout Broncos country over the last, let's call it 2 or 3 weeks, where everyone's being critical of Sean Payton and his play calling. And to me, it's you brought it up a little bit in the group chat the other day. Is it play calling or is it more execution? Back to your point. Where is this Broncos offense at an execution level of just exploiting the plays that Sean Payton is calling? Because there's guys open all over the field. The running game is actually starting to gain some traction. When he sticks with the running game, they're doing a great job there. This offense is held back not only by play calling, but also by execution. So which one is really the bigger culprit here?
Chicken or the egg? That's this conversation. Chicken and
exactly.
the egg.
Yep.
When you go back and watch, one thing you look for the play calling is the play calling designed to attack weaknesses of the defense?
Yes.
And outside the Jets game, that has been the case. Some issues here and there, some questionable decisions when in sequencing in down and distance, some issues there, but it hasn't a big thing. It's been outside the Jets game a bigger issue of the execution out there of getting the job done, because one thing is there's also been I'm not blaming Bo Nix for this. I just want to be clear. There's been a lot of play calls that Bo Nix has gone up there and killed. And so we don't know what that is. We don't know what Bo Nix was changing it out of to what for what reason. We just know that he's doing it, and we're going out there and we're seeing them, call these run plays that should work against these defenses, and just aren't because one guy's missing their block. So it seems to be a bigger execution issue than anything. Got to go out there, got to get that figured out. We have a comment from David T saying, "Good evening, Eric Lance. Question: do we have a definitive lineup for Sunday, or we're going to be shuffling until Sunday game time?" Sounds like Greenlaw will be activated and play in a part-time rotation, and it sounds like Alex Palczewski, at least according to Garrett Bowles, will be the starting left guard for it. With Garrett Bowles saying that Palcho is up to the task in playing next to him, and a question about that. We have Todd Ossendorf saying, "Can we get a Harvey sighting mixed with some Bryant? Those two have not done much yet this year." Bryant's done a lot. It's just come as blocking, and there's been at least 8 plays in the last 2 games where the Broncos offense failed to convert on third downs specifically, that Pat Bryant was open in the middle and just wasn't looked at for one reason or another. 2 or 3 of them was because the pressure was getting there just when he was getting separated or getting separation. So multiple issues for it, but Pat Bryant's been doing well if you pay attention to him. RJ Harvey, not so much. Steady saying, "I don't hear many people concerned about Tyrone Tracy. He just has not been good in the 4 games he's played this year. Did almost nothing in his game back last week. Wasn't playing well prior to that. So I don't know. I mean, he can be a decent player, but I don't think he's a threatening player personally. let's see here. Any other comments before we get into this and flip it over?
So I got one here from Broncos Fan for Life, and he's got a couple of comments here. He says, I don't mind screen passes. I mind who's getting those passes. And right behind that, he says, Evan Ingram and Jaleel should not be getting those screens. I agree with Jaleel McLaughlin. I don't understand what it was with Sean Payton to get Tyler Bidet off the field and bring in Jaleel. Maybe it was the fast track on that turf in London to kind of exploit the more slasher mentality. And
except they didn't use them that way.
Exactly. And like that's the thing is like you have this player that has this ability, and it's a good way to exploit this Jets defense that has a bad knack of over pursuing. It didn't make sense to get Jaleel McLaughlin. Evan Ingram, though, I think that the more you can get the ball in Evan Ingram's hand, the better. This offense needs to kind of focus through Cortland Sutton and Evan Ingram. And if you get the ball in Evan Ingram's hands, especially on some of these screenplays where he can utilize his bigger body and his ability to run with the football in his hands, sure, like I'm here for that. I don't disagree with you like 100% here, but I do think that the more you can get the ball in Evan Ingram's hands, the more this offense is actually going to start taking a step forward.
Yeah. It all depends on how it is. This is a game where I think that Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims should essentially be spammed on screenplays.
I don't disagree with you.
Over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. Letting them go out there and let them take advantage of the bad angles the Giants defense takes.
Yep.
And it's pretty consistently that they're taking bad angles here. But we're going to flip it over to the other side of the ball. And I got to tell you, first things first, I have not seen Broncos country and necklace talk or chain talk be this extravagant, or not extravagant, but this abundant. That's the word I'm looking for. Since Aqib Talib and Michael Crabtree. But so much has been about Jackson Dart's necklace, which I read the story about it. He took it from his sister. Like, he essentially stole it out of her bedroom prior to a game, essentially. Like, I don't know. Whatever the case, I don't care. I just can't believe that we're talking about this so much. But Andrew Thomas is a fine left tackle. He is a really good left tackle. He is probably a top 10, at very least, probably top 5 left tackle in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So is Jordan Mailata. Joe Alt is probably a top 10. Bernard Raymond is probably a top 12 at the very least, most likely a top 10. Nick Bonito has taken those guys to task with 15 pressures against 3 of them. And yet Giants fans are acting like Andrew Thomas is about to completely eradicate Nick Bonito and his presence in an NFL game. I don't see that happening. And even if that were the case, the Broncos are the best defense right now when it comes to getting home against the quarterback, getting those sacks from all over the field. 12 different players have a sack, at least half a sack, I guess I should say, for the Broncos. That is absolutely insane. They lead the NFL in sacks going back to last year by 28 sacks between started since 2024. 28 sacks more than the team in second. That second place team has only 37 or 38 more than the team who has the fewest sacks in that time frame. They almost double up. So it's insane to think that the Giants offensive line, which has been really rough this season in terms of pass protection, Jermaine Illuminor has been all right, but not great. Their interior has been rough, and they're going to be having a new center in play because John Michael Schmitz is out for this game with an injury. Yep. So Austin Schlottman's going to be stepping in, and Broncos country should be very familiar with Austin Schlottman.
Very familiar with that.
And then their 2 guards, Greg Van Roten and John Runyon, have been really good in the run game, but they have really struggled in pass protection. With Zach Allen, with John Frankenmeyers, with Jonathan Cooper, no Jonah Ellis, unfortunately, so that does hinder the depth on the outside a little bit because of how well he was playing. He is out for this game for the second week with a shoulder injury. This Broncos pass rush should be able to do it, and they should be able to get home without blitzing. And on this, the Broncos, they obviously lead the NFL in pressure rate, and they even lead it without blitzing. 43.7% of their blitzing plays, they get pressure on it. And now the New York Giants, against non-blitzes, they allow the 3rd highest pressure rate, 38.1. Denver doesn't need to blitz the quarterback to get pressure on them against this Jets offensive line, or Giants offensive line, excuse me. And one thing that will help, Jackson Dart is a rookie. The simulated pressures that Vance Joseph have been dialing up over the last few weeks have been absolutely brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's showing the same look. He's just constantly just throwing in just a little bit different from play to play to play. One little minor change for it, and that has been enough. And it's good. would not be shocked if it creates confusion for Jackson Dart and it leads to some issues, and they're able to get pressure without blitzing, and they want to do it without blitzing because Jackson Dart has actually been really good against blitzes. He's able to get the ball out quickly and to his playmakers and just pick up some yards, and just keep the ball moving a little bit. So don't want to blitz too much. Still want to blitz to catch him off guard, but get home without blitzing, and Denver's defense should thrive.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think that Zach Allen against Greg Van Roten is a huge matchup to watch, but the one that we all need to watch, the reigning defensive player of the week, Jonathan Cooper, with 2 sacks against the New York Jets last week against Jermaine Illuminor. Boys, we could see him win defensive player of the week back-to-back weeks because Illuminor, he's been fine. Jonathan Cooper is one of the best. He has the fastest get off of any edge defender in the NFL this season with the 3rd highest sack to pressure percentage behind Nick Benito and TJ Watt. Like, this dude is playing like a man with his hair on fire. Jonathan Cooper is without a question the number 1 player for me to watch for this defense this week because he has a great matchup. He's good against the run. Illuminor is not great against the run as a run blocker. Like, Jonathan Cooper and what he's able to do, and Nick Benito against Andrew Thomas, and with just the edge matchups that you have here, because Andrew Thomas, for as big and as athletic as he is at the left tackle position, and he's playing great. Don't get me wrong; he's been playing at a top 5, maybe top 3 offensive tackle in the NFL, behind Garrett Bowles, who's the best left tackle in the NFL this season, by the way, and Jordan Mailata, who's second best, very clearly first best, Garrett Bowles, very clearly second best, Jordan Mailata. Then there's Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas struggles with speed off of the edge and bendy players. He always has, going back to his time at Georgia. He's always had those issues trying to just get his hands down and try to get hands on speed rushers. He does well against counter moves. He does great against power because he's got a great base. He's got great footwork. But when you bring speed off the edge against Andrew Thomas, he is absolutely atrocious as a pass protector. We saw that last week against Montez Sweat and Josh Uche. He was good. He was very good. But Sweat and Uche had a great game against him against the New York Giants. Or against the Philadelphia Eagles. So these 2 edge rushers right now, and what they're capable of doing. Nick Benito, the highest sack to pressure ratio in the NFL, the 2nd fastest get off time, most sacks in the NFL. This is an opportunity for the Broncos to eat against this Giants offensive line. And then you bring in Zach Allen, who is first in the NFL and amongst interior defensive linemen and pressures and quarterback hits, by the way. Like this team and what they're doing defensively up front, just being able to win one-on-one situations, being able to just confuse and exploit offensive line matchups in the trenches. The big X factor here in this pass rush is, can Jackson Dart actually continue to be that mobile, shifty quarterback in the pocket? The Broncos are going to get pressure. Can they rein Jackson Dart in? I think so, because they're bringing wave upon wave upon wave of pass rush and getting after the quarterback. I mean, you saw Justin Fields, who's athletic. You saw Jalen Hurts, who's athletic. Justin Fields got sacked 9 times. Jalen Hurts got sacked 5 times, got hit 15 times. Both those players got hit 15 times in the pocket. Jackson Dart's going to be under a metric crapload of pressure is probably the best way to put that without saying something I can't say. I'm so excited to watch this defense against this offense this week. I really am. Because Jackson Dart doesn't do well against man coverage, and this team is playing high quality man coverage across the front. What do the Giants? What does this Giants offense do that scares you, Eric? What does it do?
They play physical.
Yeah,
they play big. They play physical. They play physical downhill. That's it. And one thing too with Jackson Dart, with that and the mobility that he brings, I've seen a lot of Giants fans talking about how Jackson Dart's going to run all of this Broncos defense. The Broncos have allowed 46 rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks on this season. 31 of them came against Justin Fields. 15 yards allowed rushing against 5 quarterbacks, and one of them is Jalen Hurts.
And the other one's Justin Herbert. Another one is Justin Herbert, who can run with the football too.
Yeah. So I'm not expecting that. But they are very physical, working downhill, and especially on the inside where John Frankenmeyers and Zach Allen had been a little bit rougher on the edges against the run. Fortunately, Malcolm Roach is back, and he looks far improved against the run. At least he did against the Jets than he did last year. And DJ Jones, he seems to be doing a lot better this year than he was last year, especially against the run. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit more of them. And if the Giants do want to play big, I saw somebody come in here and say that they like to use 3 tight end sets. They like to, they like that 11 or 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 22 personnel. They like those looks. Well, the Broncos can match them for that. They do have, I don't want to say they have a lot of size, but they have a lot of players that can bring some decent size to it. You can go into looks with DJ Jones and Malcolm Roach on the field. Eoma Uwazurike, who's not the best, but he's starting to look a little bit better, starting to play with better leverage and pad level and hands. And when he does that, it's good things happen. He's starting to see it a little bit more consistency. You can condense the formation a little bit. And on top of that, with the quality of weapons that the Giants are dealing with, Darius Slayton's unlikely to play. He's listed as doubtful. No Malik Neighbors. Wan'Dale Robinson is a fine guy. Theo Johnson is a fine tight end who seems to be on the verge of emerging. But you can do this, and it doesn't force a one-on-one matchup with Patrick Surtain, so you can use him a little bit differently instead of having to eliminate one receiver like we've had to do for the first 6 weeks of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He had to take out Jamar Chase. He had to take out AJ Brown. Had to take out Garrett Wilson, Calvin Ridley. What's his face for the Colts, whose name escapes me at the moment. Michael Pittman, Quentin Johnston. Like, he's had to take on those guys. You don't have to do that this year. It can do be a little bit different. If they want to be big, then okay, we'll just bring Talanoa Hufanga for some more physicality and size into the box, as Denver's been doing already, even not against size over the last few weeks. So Denver has the pieces to match up when the Giants want to go big and when the Giants want to go physical. They have been able to win so consistently up front with the defensive line and their edge rushers that they have done quite well. Outside of the Colts game, they have actually looked like a really competent run defense. I don't want to say one of the best, but they've probably been top 12 at the very least against the run outside of the Colts game. If you had that Colts game, obviously it skews the numbers for a little bit after they allowed the one big run by Jonathan Taylor and ended up with 160 yards rushing. But the Giants don't have that Jonathan Taylor level threat. Cam Scatterbo, he is very physical downhill. He's very reckless as a runner. And this was one big thing with him pre-draft. One of my biggest issues with him is just how reckless he is. He loves to endanger his neck when he goes into breakthrough tackles, when he goes into block, whatever the case may be. He lowers his head into it and he doesn't protect himself. So he's playing well right now and good for him, but it's very dangerous, especially when you are going to be running into the type of defense that Denver is, which is so physical back with Talanoa Hufanga and how he plays and how DJ Jones has been playing, that it's going to be a very physical matchup inside when the Giants have the ball.
Well, and even bringing in Dre Greenlaw, you hit on the one matchup specifically that I really wanted to talk about here, because the first time that we see Cam Scatterbo and Talanoa Hufanga in space, and those two can go neck to neck, toe to toe, and just obliterate each other, I cannot wait to watch that play. Like, that's the one play I am so looking forward to. But Brandon Jones coming down and crashing down from the second level, he's a hitter too. Dre Greenlaw has been known as one of the most physical linebackers in the NFL over the last handful of seasons. Yeah, he's coming off that quad injury, and he's going to be probably playing in a limited role. Honestly, I think he's going to play a lot more. I got a sneaking suspicion he's going to play a lot more than a limited role, to tell you the truth. But the way that this Broncos run defense aligns with this Giants run offense, and the way that the Broncos run defense has been so much better in their gap assignments and just being sound to the football, we're not seeing nearly as many missed tackles outside of Alex Singleton, who's, boys, let's be honest here. Justin Strnad, whether it's Talanoa Hufanga, whether it's Brandon Jones, whether it's Jahdae Barron, who every time that he's in, he seems to make a tackle in the running game. Jaquan McMillan has been an absolute gangbuster in space, especially in the running game as a tackler. The physicality up front is going to be really fun to watch. Like this is going to be you got a couple of meatheads. I heard this conversation on Altitude Sports Radio the other day, talking about just this Giants offense in general and what they bring to you in terms of physicality. When you think of a meathead, what do you think? Like a dude that's just big and bulky and wants to go lift weights and dude bro this and that and whatnot. Like that's exactly what this Giants offense is, isn't it? I mean, Jackson Dart's the same way. Cam Scadaboo, they want to run their head directly into your chest and just run a mother bleeper over, and that's the way that they play. It's a meathead offense. It really is. And
so when you ask meathead, it makes me think of this. I had a boss who, have you ever seen Big Daddy, Adam Sandler?
Yeah, yep.
The part where the kids being pulled out, I can wipe my own ass.
Yep.
Meatheads to me, as my old boss explained, is they're the opposite of that. They're the ones that are getting carried out saying they can't wipe their own butt.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're just so big and bulky. But yeah, that is the Giants offense right now, is they want to go out there, they want to be physical. And when you look at the Eagles, yeah, they beat the Eagles last week. I know a lot of people were talking about how it diminished the Broncos win. I kind of touched on that last week a little bit, but I wasn't saying that I felt that way. Thursday night games are weird. Just look at last night's game, for example.
Exactly. Oh man, you and I are
Thursday night games are weird.
Yep. Thursday night games are crazy, and London games are crazy too.
Yep.
We go back to the Broncos game in London against the Jets. Denver should have dominated that game. Philly should have dominated
themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
And then
Philadelphia kept shooting themselves in the foot on a Thursday night football game.
Not only that, the Philadelphia Eagles defense, they're not built to handle a physical downhill team. That's just not their style, really, especially with Jordan Davis not stepping up to it. I've seen a lot of people talking about special teams, and I think this is worth getting into it.
Me too.
Real quick, David T saying, for your cold, recommend doing 3 shots back-to-back of 100 proof Southern Comfort. I have no idea what that means. And then go to sleep tonight. Issue is I have to be up in 8 hours to start catching flights. So I'm not even going to be able to take anything to help me sleep tonight. I'm going to down some cold medicine. I have some emergency that I've been taking as well that's been helping, and some other stuff, but I'll stick to that because I know what shots mean. That's about it. 3 shots. I know that, but and back to back, of course. But 100 proof Southern Comfort, I don't know what that means.
It's a sweet liqueur, and 100 proof means 50% alcohol. Like take 3 shots of sweet whiskey liqueur. Bang,
yeah,
bang,
I gotta get up in 8 hours to start getting ready to catch some fights. 7 hours to get ready to start catching some fights. Actually, my flight's in a little over 8 hours. So yeah, not able to do that. But anyways, special teams for this. I've seen some people talking about it, and I touched on this, I believe, on Monday morning with Nick. I have been trying to figure out what's wrong with this special teams, and I can't. It's not an issue of players giving up gap integrity or lane integrity, whatever way you want to put it. It's not them taking themselves out of position. It's just like stupid minor errors that are causing issues. You have JL Skinner, who is knocking DeAndre Tillman off a tackle, leading to a big return. You have one guy tripping over another guy when they're both in the right spot. One guy just gets blocked into it. So I am not sure what it is. I don't necessarily think that it's a Darren Rizzi issue per se. Obviously, there's something there, but I can't pinpoint one exact issue with it, with special teams, to be like, all right, this is definitely Darren Rizzi. Because again, every time I go and I watch the special teams and the coverage units, it comes down to this player made a mistake this time. It was this player on this one. It was this player on another one. It's just individual players on different plays making the issue. Lavelle Bailey against the Titans in the season opener, he had a big whiff on a play or on a block. You had the JL Skinner knocking DeAndre Tillman off one. You had one where Devin Key, he got knocked into another Broncos defender and tripped him up. So it's just issues like that are leading to it. And so hopefully with JT Gray, who's the best special teamer Darren Rizzi's coached or has ever seen, hopefully that's able to help figure it out. Hopefully what's more, Darren Rizzi and Sean Payton and the coaches and stuff like that and the players have been able to identify one serious issue with this that JT Gray can come in and fix, and not just being a multitude of errors by individual players at any given time. So hopefully that is the case for it. Other than that, I can't pinpoint anything for it. And with the returns, it just seems to be an issue of not quite having it fully adapted to the rule changes from the returners in this. They've gotten close a couple times, primarily on punt returns, but on both of them, kick returns haven't seemed to adapt it, and punt returns just can't quite make that last guy miss for Marvin Mims
to
take it all the way.
So Darren Rizzi actually came out and talked about this. I heard a quote today listening to the radio. Darren Rizzi talked about, so last season they obviously incorporated the new dynamic kickoff return rules, and the Broncos were among league leaders in kickoffs through the end zone. This year they changed the touchback rules to go from the 30-yard line to the 35. And now everyone's kicking the ball short of the getting into the landing zone and actually operating these returns. So what Rizzi kind of said seems to me like a cop-out answer. And I know that this may come off as super critical. I think it is a Darren Rizzi problem because he's excusing the fact that these players last season didn't see a lot of action in the new dynamic kickoff return coverage rules. And now this season they're kicking the ball short and allowing all these returns. And he's saying that these players don't necessarily understand the assignment, more or less, is kind of what he was trying to say. And to me, how have you not figured that out yet? You had all training camp. You've had now 6 weeks of the season, and this Broncos kickoff return coverage team is 32nd in the NFL, 29.2 yards per return. They are the worst kickoff coverage team in the league. And it's not particularly close. You're giving up, I think it's 4 yards a return more than 29. I think it's 2 yards per return more than number 31. If you're allowing 29 yards per kickoff return, and the number one team I think is the Rams at 22 or something like that, you're essentially giving up a free first down every time you kick the football off. This return coverage unit needs to be better, whether it's, like you said, one guy misses his assignment or another guy JL Skinner tackles Dondre Tillman off of another tackle on Kenny Nwangwu against the Jets. It leads to a 72-yard return. You got another 45-yard return against the Colts. This team is consistently not figuring out how to get those quick shutdown tackles on the kickoffs. It seems like I think the average starting field position for Broncos opponents is the 33-yard line. It's bad. It's really, really bad. So to me, it is a Darren Rizzi issue. You've got to figure out a way to, whether it's the knuckleball kick that the Rams and the Lions are employing, or figuring out to teach these guys better assignment play, gap responsibility, stuff like that. To me, it is a Darren Rizzi issue. And he's got to figure that out quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you just after watching all the special teams unit. It is a simple fact of, again, how can you blame him for JL Skinner going to tackle and then lowering his head and lunging into his own teammate?
No,
that's not a Darren Rizzi issue. That was the Ngogwe return for the Jets.
Yep.
How are you going to blame him for Lavelle Bailey, or not Lavelle Bailey, for Devin Key getting out-blocked and outplayed and pushed into a teammate that's going to not clear out the way? Mm-hmm. And I believe that was the one of the Titans' big returns. Or Lavelle Bailey missing a tackle. When you take out those big returns, and obviously this is one thing that I hate doing, when you take out big plays, obviously you do better. When you take out the 4 big returns that the Broncos have had on kickoff returns, they're actually in the top 5 for return average.
Really? Okay.
So it's just so bloated because of how massive those returns have been key individual mistakes by players, mm-hmm. and not the same players. So you can't sit there and point and be like, that one player has been such a consistent issue, we're going to replace him. Which is why I'm kind of curious about JT Gray's addition and how that's going to impact. But at least they're not being passive about it. They are trying to figure out something. We'll see. And hopefully whatever it is, the Broncos get that figured out, because you can win or lose games by special teams. And Denver has damn near lost 2 additional games because of special teams play. So got to get that figured out. But before we get out here, we do have about 10 minutes left. Lance, what is your bold prediction for this Broncos offense? Is it yet again another 100-yard rusher?
No, it's not. I think the Broncos are going to have less than 250 total yards of offense against this Giants defense. I think it's going to be a struggle. Right now with the execution of the play calling. The play calling is good. I actually think that the play calling has been good. There's some sequencing issues that I've had some issues with, specifically on I believe it was the long field goal drive where you run a quick tight end bubble screen to Evan Ingram for 1 yard after you get a false start penalty. Then you run a reverse to Troy Franklin. What's the sequencing there? That doesn't make any sense to me. there are specific issues like that I have problems with. It's execution up front. It's execution from Bo Nix in the pocket, throwing the deep ball down the field. There's shot plays. There are some set them up, knock them down plays that Sean Payton's actually calling. You're just not executing. You're not hitting them. Right now, I don't think that even against what is a bad Giants defense, you went up against a worse Jets defense. And again, yeah, it's in London. It's a weird game, but you're
against
coming
a bad
off
Jets defense that knows Sean Payton's scheme quite well.
Yes, a bad Jets defense, but you also have a bad Giants defense on a short week
that doesn't know Sean Payton's defense well,
and also on a short week traveling back from London. Yes, it's a home game. It's going to be dialed up and ramped up. Like the emotions of this game are going to be huge. I don't think that they're going to figure this out this week. So to me, I think that you're going to have some issues up front. I think you're going to have some issues in the passing game. The Broncos are going to have less than 250 total yards of offense against this Giants team.
I'm different than you. I don't think they're going to get it all figured out this week, but I think we're going to get a mirage week. I think Denver goes over 500 yards of total offense in this one.
Really? Okay.
And I think that it's going to have a lot of people screaming that they're back, that the Broncos offense is great and everything. And then we'll see them falter against the Cowboys and, over the next few weeks. The reason for that is the emotions of this game. I think that they are going to be carried. I think they're going to, with honoring DT, induction to the Ring of Fame, the Super Bowl 50 team, all the alumni there. I think things are going to be riding high and the pressure is going to be on this team. And Bo has done well under pressure. Not on the field with sack pressure coming, but pressure from the outside world coming down on them.
Yeah.
And leading up to the game. And there's a lot of pressure for them to bounce back after that. And so I think they respond in a big way. I think that they use the emotions of the honoring of DT and the alumni all being there, and the fan base, the energy the fan base is going to give them. I think that they're going to use that as well and get over 500 yards of offense for it. And you guys, when they come out, you can read my bold predictions, and I have 3 players alone breaking over a century mark in yardage.
Nice.
1 receiving, 1 rushing, and 1 from scrimmage, which probably gives away who those 3 players are. But
give me Sutton over 100 receiving, Dobbins over 100 on the ground, and can I get Harvey? No. Yeah. Give me
Harvey
no.
100. Yeah, 3.
Harvey. Yep.
Dobbins over 100 rushing, Sutton over 100 receiving, and Harvey over 100 total from scrimmage.
I heard this take just quickly going back to the emotions of this game and what it means to everybody on the field. How cool would it be to see Cortland Sutton come out wearing a number 88 jersey? How cool would that be?
It would be cool, but he would get fined heavily because the NFL is not cool.
I know.
It breaks uniform regulations for not wearing your designated number. It's stupid.
I know. It's dumb because that would be so awesome.
But anyways, getting over to the defense side of the ball, you and I, despite being opposites on this, we talked about this beforehand, we are pretty in sync with the defense.
Mm-hmm. So
I have Riley Moss getting a pick 6 in this one. That is my bold prediction. Riley Moss, he gets so much more hate than he deserves for absolutely no reason. He's the 4th most targeted cornerback after 6 weeks right now, and he is allowing the 7th lowest catch rate in the NFL amongst corners with, over, I think, like over 20 targets or something like that. I can't remember exactly much, which is the lowest on the team. Whereas Patrick, he's at like 48.3%, whereas Patrick Stan is at like 63.7% or something like that. So I think Riley Moss gets a pick 6, partially due to the pressure up front, forces him to erratic throw. He picks it off. He's able to take it to the house. And that kind of, it plays into your bold prediction for the defense as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest talking points about this defense and how elite it possibly can be. And guys, I'm going to bring up a reference because I have a badass nickname for this Broncos defense right now. So in January in Denver, there is a big time rodeo every single year. It's called the National Western Stock Show, right? Rodeo, bulldogging, tackling things, timed events, yada, 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 right? That'd be pretty cool. I want to call this Broncos defense the National Western Sack Show because you have the 2 fastest get off time.
Long.
I still though it ties in everything together with the way that these edge rushers are getting after the quarterback as fast as they are. It's like a rodeo out there. Like they're tying everything up. But the big thing here is the pressure that this Broncos team is getting right now has not led to turnovers like it usually should. I talked about this. You had that phone call with your mom a couple of weeks ago. when you create pressure like you have been and you play tight man coverage like the Broncos have been, you typically would create more turnovers. And with the National Western Sack Show up front and what could considerably be like a no-fly zone on the back end, you're going to start creating some turnovers with a rookie quarterback in a hostile environment on a juiced-up game. I think the Broncos are going to get 3 interceptions, including a pick six. I have Surtain getting the pick six, not Riley Moss, but yes, I think 3 interceptions from this defense, which sets up a struggling offense to score another touchdown. Broncos win 16-6, by the way.
I have Denver winning this one. Don't even have to do the segue into the score predictions. 24-16. That's how I have it.
Yeah.
24-16.
And make sure, guys, as always, the Mile High Huddle Roundtable is up on milehighhuddle.com. Everybody's picks and predictions are up there. Go make sure you guys check all of that out. Again, like I said, 16-6, I think a low-scoring affair because I just don't trust this Broncos offense right now. They're not executing. I do trust the Broncos defense, and it's going to be a big day for the Broncos defensively.
I trust the Broncos offense against a really bad defense.
Again, we just watched them against a really bad defense.
Against a coach who played for Sean Payton and coached with Sean Payton.
Yeah, fair
who
enough.
Knows his scheme.
Fair enough.
And has immensely more talent on his defensive side of the ball than the Giants currently have.
That's a fact. That is a
and has that talent spread throughout the defense, not just all up front.
Yep.
Because all the Giants' talent is 4 of their top 6 defensive front members.
Yep.
Whereas, you have a good safety, a couple good corners. Jets corners are very underrated. Not necessarily Sauce Gardner, he's overrated, but their corners around him are very underrated.
I do like Andrew Phillips in the secondary. Andrew Phillips has been
Andrew Phillips is solid, but he's been rough this season so far. He's been pretty rough for the most part, working in the slot. And I'm not saying trust this offense. I think this offense has a big game this week. And as I said, I think it's a mirage game. I think it's going to get a lot of people thinking that this offense is back and everything's fixed. And we start to see the fractures over it. Yep. Because I think they're going to ride high with the emotions of this week. And then when those emotions are gone, we see them fall apart.
Yep.
That's where I'm at with it. Anyways, guys, that's going to have to do it for us. Before we get out of here, we do have some final things that we got to say. As you can see, scrolling across the bottom of your screen, subscribe, like, and share. And those are the things that you can do that only take a matter of time that help us with the algorithms that are ever changing, as well as going over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts to leave a 5-star review for a chance to win some gear, not swag. I hate saying swag every single month. Those are things that just take a matter of time. But if you are able to do so and help out financially, you can become a member over at youtube.com/@milehighhuddle, where you guys can get access to exclusive content like Kelberman's Korner and Broncos Book Club, as well as other stuff that's in the work that's likely going to be coming after the season. You guys can follow us on Instagram @milehighhuddle, with an underscore between mile and high and huddle. And if you are able to do so as well with financially, even though times are tough, I understand that. You can go to mhhmerch.com and get your gear on, not swag. You can get hats like the one that I'm wearing, or shirts, hats for the different shows, mugs, all sorts of stuff there, which can also make great gifts if you have family or friends who are also big fans of the Mile High Huddle. You guys can get merchandise there. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/milehighhuddlepod, and facebook.com/milehighhuddle. You can get access to the wonderful Facebook community that we have built up over the last 10, 11 years, as well as get access to all of our written content there. And if you do not have Facebook, as I know a lot of people don't, you can also follow us on Twitter or X, whichever you want to call it, @milehighhuddle, at the MHH pod, at DVDD_pod, and you can get access to all of our written content through there as well. We are one of the daily Mile High Huddle podcasts that come to you 7 nights a week, twice in the morning. I hope you guys have a wonderful time. But before we get out of here, Lance, any last words?
Again, guys, so excited for this weekend. Obviously, the Mile High Huddle meet and greet, we've been promoting it all week. Again, if you're able to be in Denver at Mile High Stadium, we're going to be in Lot D at 11 o'clock. Again, Lot D, as in dog, on the west side of the stadium, as close to the stairs as we could possibly get, from 11 o'clock to kickoff. Make sure you guys get down here. I cannot wait to meet everybody, shake your hands, give you a big old hug, talk some football, just get to know each other. That's what this is all about. Like, without you guys, we could not do what we do best, which is cover our Denver Broncos. And you guys are the ones that keep the lights on. You're the ones that allows us to do this. So we really want to and expect to see everybody, as many people there as humanly possible. You all stay safe and take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. If you're not able to be at the Mile High Huddle meet and greet, you guys take care. If you are there, I cannot wait to see you guys on Sunday.
Yeah, and if you guys are going to be there, We hope to see you guys there at some point. Todd, Peter, String Guy, Chase, William. Hopefully one of these years we're able to put a face to the name and be able to meet you guys in person. And you guys can see why the Mile High meet and greet is the best week of the season when it comes to Broncos football. We hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. I got to get out of here and go make sure everything's packed and eat and get stuff ready for flights. I know, Lance, you got to go get to bed because I definitely want you rested when you pick me up at the airport. I don't need you falling asleep behind the wheel. It is 22 hours from now. My plane will be landing in Denver. So,
I won't fall asleep driving back to the hotel, but when we get back from dinner and we go to play all the board games you're going to bring with you, I might be falling asleep then. I can promise you that.
Just card games. Board games are too big to fit in my backpack. But we hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope we get to see a lot of you guys at the meet and greet, and you guys are able to have a great time. If you don't, we'll see you next week. I will be back. I will not be here on Monday morning. It'll be Nick and Dylan, I believe, as I will be on a flight back by the time they get started. And I don't think the people on the flight would appreciate me doing a show in the middle of the morning. And I don't think the quality would be that good either. But I might see you guys Sunday night after the game and the gut reaction that we typically do from the hotel. So maybe I'll see you guys then for a little bit to give some quick thoughts about the game and talk about how great the Broncos offense was, going over 500 yards and laughing in Lance's face for being so wrong. But anyways, guys, again, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. I'll see some of you in a couple of days, Lance. I will see you tomorrow. And as our good friend Nick always says, choose kindness and compassion. And of course, go Broncos.